Hey guys, how you doing? Jeff here. Today, well, it's another Captain Carter video, the what if. But this time, I've actually got to defend it some because I've been seeing a lot of Phantom Menace people slam it for, oh, it's too feminist and this and that, and I'm like, it is feminist in tone, but you have to take off the culture war anti-SJW glasses. You have to take those off, and you have to put on amateur historian mode and see, for the period that it's set in, I know it's not exact, but for the period of the day, the 1940s, is this film and its tones, the social way it treats women and all that, accurate? And yes it is. So, that out of the way, let's dive into this. Of course, there will be spoilers, but I'm not going to go by a beat-by-beat thing. I'm just going to go, do I think this is feminist, sexist, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. Overall impressions before we get into it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't, like, great, but it wasn't bad. It was okay to, it's kind of good. I mean, there are things to nitpick, and I will bring those up. In fact, the first thing we'll talk about, yes, is Captain Carter's body size. And I did a whole video on that. I am 100% of the agreement of her body when in Captain Carter uniform and her body size overall is way too large. I 100% stand by that. But when she was just in, her military uniform and all that, she still looked kind of feminine. And she still definitely acted like the Peggy Carter we knew, just Peggy Carter, super serum soldier. In fact, that's one of the greatest praises I can give this show. The characters actually acted like the characters would, except for just what if. Like, Peggy acted like Peggy, just with the super serum soldier. She was still incredibly warm, caring, the Peggy that we knew. Especially, honestly, it felt like an Agent Carter TV portion, except it was just the what if she took the place of Steve Rogers. And, she still was incredibly in love with Steve, even though he wasn't the big strapping man that he became as Captain America. She loved Steve for what was inside instead of what he became. Though I'm pretty sure in her eyes what he became didn't hurt the eyes at all, but she still loved him, and it still showed even in this 30-minute short. In fact, the only person she was ever aggressive with was the period correct, if not perfect, douchebag and asshole colonel who took over the SSR, who was incredibly pitch perfect for the time that it took place. He was a fucking sexist prick. In the 1940s, many men were sexist pricks. It was just that age. And I applaud Marvel for sticking to that and not, making Peggy what she wasn't. All they did was just give her the super serum soldier, and just to draw another parallel, the Agent Carter show, she faced the same level of sexism. No one batted an eyelash. In fact, many people applauded how Peggy Carter dealt with it. And the fact that Marvel didn't shy away of the period it was set in. But now it's like, oh, because she's feminist and blah, 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 and it's so bad. It's like, no, it wasn't. She wasn't really feminist at all. In fact, she, like I said, pretty much just acted like Peggy Carter would. And she had the super serum soldier. So, like I said, it was just jarring because her body was so goddamn big, and it really shouldn't have been. If you go back to the actual movie, when we have, skinny, wimpy, Steve Rogers, he was about Peggy Carter's height, even when he was skinny, wimpy, weakling, and he only grew to, about 6 foot tall, and his shoulders weren't that big. He wasn't that big of a beefy guy. It's just, Chris Evans worked out some. And whereas we have Peggy, who turns into almost a white-skinned She-Hulk in size. So, yeah. Enough about that. I did a whole video on that. I'm not going to retread that too much. But overall, as far as the whole feminism and, it's woke and all that, no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. There are things to criticize, like the art style wasn't all that good. And yes, I was a little bit ticked that Hugo Weaving and Chris Evans didn't come back to voice actor roles again. I mean, the voice actors who did take up those roles did okay, but it's just not the same. And the art style, mileage varies. And the other criticism that Gary of Neurotic says is Peggy was a better Captain America than Captain America. Yeah, there is some validity to that argument, but they didn't go too over the top. But at the same time, yeah, I can't see that argument in certain situations. Like saving Bucky, yeah, that was kind of a middle finger to the original Captain America for losing Bucky. But she also thought she had lost Steve in the same instance, though the armor saved his ass. And yeah, she pushed the huge Leviathan monster back through the portal and sacrificed herself. But this is the one thing I always asked myself when I saw Captain Carter do a feat of strength or something like that. Is this something that Steve Rogers could have done? Every single time, I came out with the answer of yes. This is something, given the same situation, if you just simply put Captain America back in that same instance and say gave Peggy Carter the Nazi smasher suit, would it come out generally the same? And my reply is yes. Generally, overall, she didn't do anything that Captain America could not do. And that's definitely one of the standards I judge the movie by. Was she doing things that Steve Rogers as Captain America in the actual timeline could not do? And every time I came up with the answer of Steve could do the exact same thing. So there is that too. But anyways, I'm not going to make this too long. Like I said, it's not a fully in-depth review. It's just tackling some of the criticisms and going, yeah, you guys are kind of, in my opinion, have a baseless argument. It wasn't over the top. Peggy wasn't an unlikable cunt. In fact, Peggy was a very likable character, just like she normally is. So I don't see the big hoopla outside of the art style. There were certain moments that, she did things where it was better than the first Avenger movie, but at the same token, it's nothing that Captain America couldn't have done. And, well, yeah, the body situation, I must agree with Gary and the rest of, yeah, they basically took a man's body when she's in the suit and welded a female's head and back. The head is not proportional to the size of her body, which is more irritating. I have to agree with that one. But like I said, overall, it's a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't overall bad. In fact, it was pretty good in certain situations. I have to give Marvel that. I was actually pretty surprised overall. Anyways, I'm Jeff. Let me know what you think below about what you thought of Captain Carter, and let's get this conversation started. I'll catch you next time.